Everyone, my name is Anika. I'm part of the Data Science Discovery team, and in this video today we will be doing a question on linear regression. So let's go ahead and get started. So here it says a study was conducted collecting data on the number of credit hours and hours of sleep of 181 students at U of I. The following summary stats are obtained, right? It shows here credit hours and hours of sleep, right? So the correlation between credit hours and hours of sleep is 0.35, and find the slope of the regression line for predicting hours of sleep from credit hours, right? So this is kind of the key statement. We are predicting hours of sleep, meaning that hours of sleep is our dependent y variable and credit hours is our x or independent variable, right? So the first thing we want to do here is, write out our formula, right? What are we even trying to find? Well, this is going to be hours of sleep equals my y-intercept, right, which is going to be beta 0 plus my slope times the independent variable, right? So slope is beta 1 times my independent x variable, which is basically credit hours, right? So this is kind of the equation, the general equation here. And I want to go ahead and solve for my beta 0 is my y-intercept and beta 1 is my slope, right? So let's go ahead and solve for the slope first. So beta 1 is the formula for finding that is basically my correlation coefficient times my standard deviation of y divided by my standard deviation of x, which is all given here. So it's going to be 0.35 times my standard deviation of y is 3, so is my standard deviation of my x variable, so I think we just got lucky there. So it's just going to be 0.35 basically as my slope. Right, so now my final equation becomes my hours of sleep equals to beta naught, right, like beta 0, which is still unknown, plus 0.35 times my credit hours, right? And basically to solve for beta 0, right, we can sub in one of our data points which we already know, right, which is basically the averages of both of our x and y columns, right? So the data point here that we can use is basically going to be 18,6, right, which is the average x comma the average y. So again, this is just simple algebra. Solving for beta 0 is going to be my hours of sleep, which is my y variable, which is 6, minus 0.35 times my credit hours, which was my x variable, which is 18. And if you kind of plug that in the calculator, 6 minus 0.35 times 18 is minus 0.3 as my y-intercept for my hours of sleep. So let's go ahead and put in those answers over here. So our slope is going to be 0.35, which is correct. And then our y-intercept was negative 0.3. And then here, now it says, suppose a student from U of I takes 18 hours, estimate their hours of sleep rounding to the nearest hour, right? So our final equation here is basically going to be hours of sleep equals, and then the y-intercept, right, which is minus 0.3 plus 0.35 times our credit hours, right? And now they're asking us to estimate the hours of sleep for a student who takes 18 credit hours, right? So it's going to be hours of sleep equals to negative 0.3 plus 0.35 times 18, which is which is basically exactly 6 hours of sleep, right? So this, our estimate from our linear equation is going to be 6. And then finally, suppose that same student actually sleeps 6 hours. What is the residual of our calculation? Well, the residual is basically just a difference between our actual minus the expected value, which is 6 minus 6. So that's just going to be 0, which is pretty easy, right? So again, it was subtracting the predicted value from the actual. So if you want to write it in a formula, so residual is going to be the actual minus the predicted value, right? Which is, and the actual value is like what was recorded in real life, right, which is 6. And then our predicted value is basically what we got from our linear equation, or basically our estimate from this equation here. So it's just y minus y hat if you want to write it another way, which in this case is just 0. So I hope this video was helpful, right? If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.